Did you know that
Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another live session for Global Azure Days through the Reactors. My name is Rav, and I'm the Program Manager at Reactor London. Before we get into the session, as usual, please take a moment to read our code of conduct. We're all here to learn, so please be respectful of other people's views, understanding of differences, and please be kind and considerate in the way you engage. The chat will be open throughout, and we do encourage you all to participate. Also, please note that this session will be recorded and available to view on our Reactor YouTube channel. This episode is on demystifying your Azure Search using cognitive services and Power BI for deeper insight, and will be led by two of our speakers, Seyi and Deji. Seyi is a technical consultant and public speaker, and Deji is a Microsoft MVP. And with that, I'm now going to hand over to them both, and who will now lead the session. Hi, Seyi. Hi, Deji.
Hi, Rav.
Hello.
Good morning from Lagos, yeah.
Good morning. Good morning from London.
Hi.
And we're very excited to have you here. So I'll be in the background. If you need me, please do shout out my name. The floor is all yours, and all the best.
Okay,
yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, welcome once again. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you are calling in from. We are here to look at this topic, especially in a day like this, the Global Azure Day, where we look at demystifying Azure Search using cognitive service, and also being able to rely on Microsoft tools to bring better insight from it. And I'll be presenting with my colleague and my friend, Ayodeji Folarin. Now, Ayo, the concept of search has been for a long time. People has always used search to do. I consider search to be something we ask ourselves. I want to know. So, what do you think about search? Because Microsoft bringing cognitive service into it in order to bring better relevance to it is like the changer here. So what do you think about search generally before we introduce ourselves?
Well, generally, when we talk about search, we all know that if you have a big textbook to access and you don't have the content or the index at the back, it might be difficult for you to quickly pick up what you want. Number two, on our mobile phone, maybe you have about 2,000 contacts. Without the help of search, you know what you need to do? You need to scroll down anytime you want to pick up
and that's very
content. So now, coming up with this concept, this is what we are trying to show today, how we can leverage on Azure Search, that's the cognitive search service, and use that to profit our organization, whatsoever we are trying to do. And also how you can use Power BI tool to get deeper insight that can also help the organization. So search is something that is key. We cannot shy away from this.
Thank you, Deji, for that. And before we go further, we'd like to introduce ourselves. My name is Oluwawumiju Oluwaseyi. I'm from Lagos, Nigeria, and it's tongue twisting. My name is very long. It's always been in competition anywhere in the world because I have the longest name because of the combination. And I'm a Microsoft MCT. I'm also one of Microsoft MVP from Nigeria on Office and App. I'm also a consultant, and I've been training, and I'm a Microsoft certified trainer also lead the regional lead for Nigeria that cover some part of West Africa. And I'm an author. I have some books, and I've been doing consulting for over 19 years plus. Deji, please let us know you.
Okay. My name once again is Ayodeji Folarin from Lagos, Nigeria. So I'm a consultant, CEO, Jari Computer Solution. I'm a Microsoft Most Valuable Professional on Data Platform. Also, I'm an MCT, a certified trainer. I'm a BI developer. Thank you.
Thank you, Deji. And so brief. So today, what are we looking at? We are looking at an introduction to search. Then we're going to touch demystifying search. What has the concept got to do with Microsoft Search? Search history in from Microsoft concept from our Windows 10, from our Office. We find out that at every point, just as Deji said, even your phone, you have somewhere you need to search. Why do we need that? In order to obtain ourselves and obtain information, relevant information at regular time. We're going to look at that. We're going to look at virtualization. That's where my Deji will come in to tell us what's virtualization and what is the relationship between having a virtualized virtualization environment with the search engine. What advantage we're going to go, and we're going to go straight to demo, and we're going to show you what Microsoft have and how we're going to get it on Power BI. Now let's go right into our core. Now, history has been repeating himself when it comes to technology. Now, technology is built on people expectation. What do people need? What do people want? And most time, expectation of people is to make things easy for them, make things relevant, easy to access for themselves. So people experience has always gone that way from history, from the 17th century when a revolution of engine, mechanical engine, to when it came to the revolution of IT, to this digital age that we are today. There's always a balance, and that balance has been leveraged on technology, where we have to use technology to drive human expectation. Now, it brings me back to a particular woman I know very long time ago, Elizabeth Adenson. She died in 1953. Now, what really fascinates me about this woman was in her days, she found out that there was a people problem. And what was the problem? Every time automobile car was everywhere, as you can see in the diagram, but they noticed that during the snow period, they find out that the movement is restricted. There should be something that can wipe away or remove the snow from the car. And that has always been the problem. You see people stopping their car, sometimes they halt their journey just because of that issue. She brought about what we call the wind shield that we find in most cars, where it can help you to take away water or snow. Now the concept here shows us someone was determined to make relevant and a change to what is in order to innovate what he sees and what he can do to make things more productive for human existence and for human use. Now let's look at search. Let's just introduce ourselves to search generally. From my concept, as I said, search is to find something everywhere, whether through your mobile phone, whether through your content in your book. Maybe you have an index, a content index. All we use, all we need most of the time is to find a way to be sure that we can find certain information at the right time. Now, identify those information and content is what the search is built on. Now, generally, Microsoft Azure Search started way back when Azure was introduced, and we are all aware of other search engine that's all over the world. When we talk of Bing for Microsoft and Google for Google Search, and we notice the essence of these two search is to scale up how we do search and how we find something, how we find our content, how we arrange our content, how we bring relevant information to ourselves for our usage and for people experience. Most time Azure Search was now created on smooth performance, which include making it rugged, making it to gel with the content that is available with proper indexing and arranging the metadata in a proper sequence. Now, from every search engine, there is always a bar. And what the bar does is where you can bring your content relevant to what you want to search. If I want to search dog now, there should be a place where the input should be put in, and that's where the bar is. Now, after you have now searched, then a good search engine should be able to align your search into different categories, including increasing how you can, human error. We are prone to human error at any interval where we can make spelling mistake. The search engine must be able to make sure that it can give you an alternative to what you are doing or what you are looking for. A good search engine must be able to sort your information, must be able to categorize those information, you must be able to put it in different paging, and if it's spread across different geographical area, you must be able to have a spiral search across it, bringing all the content into one place. Now, what has Azure Cognitive Search got to do about it? Now, because of scalability, we know that content build up has increased with the digital era, and it is a fact that is right in our front that most time our content from each of our business places, our company, our firm, whether it's a small business, an entire business, we have long history of content we keep somewhere that is digitalized. Now, how do we scale this? Azure Search now came in with what we call a service, making search as a service, and not only as a service, running it on the cognitive tool, which increase the power and increase the ability for people to be able to have access. Now, if you look at the build-up of Azure Search, Cognitive Search, is built on 5 major pillars. One, the provision of those services to Azure, the ability to index your content, whether it's structured, unstructured, ability to bring all those content into one place and spread it out in category. Now, you index it, creating index into data, then you give the user, the experience of the user now matter. You create a search environment that user can easily go to search it. And you can have the cognitive service to help you to fine-tune it. Now, let's look at how the cognitive service can fine-tune this. Now, we know every information comes from data. Now, every source of the data, as we are in a digital era, that we have every data and every information from those data very relevant to our existence as a person, as a people, as a firm, as a company. Now, our source of data can come from anywhere, whether from a blog service, container, which has our unstructured content like PDF, like pictures. We can also have it from structured content like SQL Server, like document DB, or probably from a Cosmo DB, where we have a very structured content delivery system. Now, after you have got that, the cognitive service help you to crack this content. After cracking it, it enables you to have what we call an extendable enrichment in terms of whether it's through the letter, or through the image, or through the video, or whatever content you have. The cognitive service help you to scale it up. And the moment it scale it enrich it. Now, once it has given all this, it now give you an interface, whether through a JSON platform or through a normal search engine that your corporate environment can use. And by using that, you can gain analytics. You can have it to allow you to retrieve your information at a regular interval. Now, I'm going to bring my colleague Deji in now. But before then, I would like to spell out how Microsoft Azure Search does its indexing. Now, the pool, the inflow of Azure index can come through content that run through a custom REST API. It can also come from a content. It can index content that come from your SQL database, or your document DB, or your Azure block storage, which also runs on those information that are unstructured. Now, the document format runs from PDF to every Microsoft Office format, to XML, to a zip file, to EML file or to any plain text that is relevant to your business. Other features that we need to look at is sorting, that is calling those content, that is relying on the AI model that allow you to score each information according to the relevance of the people experience that is being targeted at, paging it. And one good example of the feature that we can have from cognitive injection into is ability to have what we call a multi-language support, which allow you, for example, if for example we have a firm in Nigeria that runs it across probably other company, maybe from Europe, and we speak different language, maybe English, French, Portugal. We can have the search engine to run across each of this spectrum and allow each user to have the same experience like English. So it allows all this. Now, demystifying it from Microsoft concept, and I think from statistics, Azure Cognitive Search has been one of the best. Is one of the best AI-enabled search engine that have been scaled up in the recent time for users, for companies that can use it to scale up their information and to be able to give their people the experience to have relevant document when they need it. Virtualizing search content using Power BI, and this is where I bring Deji in. Deji, what do you see when you talk about virtualizing this search engine, and what's the advantage of integrating into Power BI?
Yeah, so thank you very much, Seyi. What I really want to bring to the table during the demo section is, after you've exposed your documents, maybe you have scanned documents, PDF documents that runs to millions of pages. You've exposed it to cognitive search. If anybody wants to pick any information from the document, it's just to type it on the search engine. It will run through the document and show you this is where the information is. This is other information around it. It's on so page and all other detail. Now, my area here is this. I'm interested. What are they looking for? How often are they doing that search? What are they looking for that I cannot provide from my document, from my database? I want to have that log. And Azure is so kind enough to keep a detailed log of what is happening during the search. Now, I want to connect Power BI to that log service. I want to check how often did they search, what are they looking for, what are they looking for that I cannot deliver in my content, and many other things. So I want to see the search across the day by day search results. Now, I can get this done using a tool called Microsoft Power BI. It's a powerful data analytical tool, and I'm going to connect Power BI to the cognitive search through the application within Power BI web service. Can you move on to the next slide? Okay, and to get this connection done is as simple as ABC. From the application, all I just need to do is to say, look, get a service for me. And which service? Move to the next slide. So which service? I will scroll down or just look for Azure Cognitive Search from the list of Power BI applications. Now, once I can get hold of this, it's just going to ask me few questions. Can you move to the next slide? Now, the very first question is, get me connected to your storage account. Now, when we build our search, we create a storage account on Azure, and we are going to connect Power BI. We are going to connect our cognitive search analytic logs, all the logs, all the metrics. We are going to connect it to that search on Azure. Now, on Power BI, it would need those two things for us. Number one, what is the name of the storage account? How many days history? Is it just 1 day, 10 days, or 30 days history that you'll be interested in? So it can always give you that detail, and it's going to now ask you for your authentication mode. So once you supply the detail and it's correct, the next thing is, boom, you have your screen loaded with all activity going on. As the search is going on, we see it live and direct. Seyi, without wasting much time, let's get into demo. You are muted. I can't hear you.
Yeah. Thank you, Deji, for that. We're going to go into demo. Now, the demo environment will be one from Azure, then the other one from Power BI. Now, the Azure is, we know before you can actually use Azure environment, I'll just launch my my demo now. I'll bring in my browser, and I go to my Azure environment. Now, for you to be able to have access to an Azure environment, you must actually have an account, and you can have that account either through a corporate, as a corporate entity, or as an individual using your Hotmail or your live account. Once you have that, you need to subscribe. Now, there are different modes for that subscription. We have subscription that can be for certain period of time, and because it's a service, you can scale up or scale down as you use. So for me, I've already have an account. You can see my account, and I've already have a subscription. So the first thing I need to do is to create a storage account, because they mentioned here that for you to be able to expose this data, you need to have a accumulation of your log file, which indicates how the search engine is being used. So I need to create a storage account. How do I do that? There is a bar here called create a resource. We create a resource. It takes us through a particular guide that guides us through creating the resource. And because there is a search bar, we are talking of search, I can easily search for Azure storage account. Once I create a storage account, from the storage account, I put all the details that I want. I can just search here and search. I say, okay, I can either go through the category or search via the search engine. I'm used to search. So I just say storage account. And immediately, Azure gives you everything that is relating to your storage. And I can launch the storage account. And the wizard is a very simple wizard that takes me through a guide by which I can create the storage account. Now, creating the storage account, it gives you detail of the plan, user information, and the review. And once you have created your storage account, you can now go further to create what we call the Azure Cognitive Search Service. The Azure Cognitive Search Service. So let me just I will not want to create one. I'll just show you what to do. I'll go back. Now, once you create it, it asks you for some details, which I'll just show you, and we'll go back to the home page to create the search service. Now, here, it first pick your subscription. You can see my subscription. You must have what we call a resource group. And this is a resource group. And if you don't have one, you can easily create one. Once you have created resource group, you must identify the account. You must also identify the region. This has been used before. 23. You can also identify the region. Then the performance in terms of how do you want this storage account to work for you. And you also need to look at redundancy that you want. So once you have done that, you create review, and that is created. So once you have your storage account, the next thing now is to now create your cognitive search. You can see from my bar is marked because it's something that I've been using, and I'll just go to my create. I've already created one, but let me just guide you through how it's being created. I go the same way. Either I go through the categorization, or I search for my search Azure Cognitive. You can see instantly that's the beauty of search. It gives you relevant high information at the needed time. Now I have it here. Now you can see here, it also gives you detail of the cognitive search, and it also allow you to know the plan you have. We have several plans. We have the free plan, which we are using for this demo, and we have the basic that allow you certain workload and database can be imported. We have the standard, and we have the one that can be used for scaling high enterprise information. Now I create one. Now in creating it also guide you through what we call a systematic workflow, where it takes you you first identify. You can see every time he identify what you have, especially in terms of your subscription. Now you create your resource group. We have one already. Then you need to name this term. Let me just say search speech 101. Then which region are you pointing it to? Either you want to use West US, we have other region that allow search service, cognitive search service to run. That means not all regions can support it. You can see all these other regions disabled. That means they cannot support it. Now you have to be mindful of where you want. Now, because we are talking from Africa, let's just look for West, UK West for this particular one. Then the next thing it takes you, do you want to, the skill you want to use, but you can see the skill is also depending on the type of on the type of plan you have. You can go for the networking. The networking takes you to what you want. Who do you want to view it? You can make it private. Maybe you have certain category of environment that you don't want them to have access to the site, and you can make it public for everyone. Then once you have done that, you can also target and you go to review and create. Now when you click on review and create, it gives you a summary after validating that this can be provisioned for you in terms of the plan, in terms of the license. You can see I'm using a standard tier, which allow me to have 25 gigabytes of partition, maximum of 12 replica, and I can have it to have 36 search units. And you can see it also gives me the amount. For every business, you must know what you want, what is the size of your content, and can use to create it. I'm not going to create this one now. I'm going to go back to I'm going to cancel this. Then I have one I've already created, and we use that as our demo proper, which is the free one. This is this demo search 2022 and some days ago. Now here it gives me holistic overview of my search engine. It tells me about the pricing tier I have free, and it also helped me to look at my search. Now, how do I get my content in? That's the next step now. There is a search. You can create your index by adding index if you have indexes you want to add. But for you to initially start, you must import your data. Now, this is where you are going to streamline your data to the content that is necessary. Your data can be located via several content framework. It can be from a sample data which Microsoft gives. You can see the sample data. You can import your data from your database, Azure database, each of the database, and you can also import it. Funny enough, other data platform like SharePoint Online, you can also import your data from it. You can import it from a file storage, Azure file storage. Maybe you have a company Azure site that have content, you can import it from it, or a database that is not Microsoft SQL Server, but it's even my SQL Server. These are all relevant content input type. Now, for this, we have imported from a real estate sample, and we also imported from a sign demo, which I imported several signs. So once you have established that, you create your sample. So let me just use one of the sample data to run a particular one here. Let's say I'm doing a hotel sample. Now, the next thing is to add the cognitive power there. This is where the cognitive power comes from, the Azure Search, where you can actually allow some cognitive environment to be added to it. And this cognitive environment ensure that your content can easily be scalable, can easily be searchable, and before then, it's going to validate it. Once it validates it, it can now provision this data in order for you to have access to the content. Now, you can see here, you can see the enrichment you can add there. You can have the enrichment as the enrichment from the hotel in terms of text, in terms of because you look at the content and ensure it align what your cognitive advantage can be. And for this particular hotel, what Convenant advantage you can have is on text, and you can see it run there. Then once you do that, you can save it. But for this, I'm not going to do that because we have already another content. Once you validate this, you can now go and provision and test your content. Now, let's go now back to this, and let's assume I'm going back to the one I've created. Now, let's go now to the indexer and see what are the index that has been done. How is index done? You can see the indexes shows the number of count of documents you have. It also shows the size, the storage size. You can see for each of the content I've imported, I have one for 13 and I have the other one as 20. And once all this content is properly indexed by running the index, you can see once, let me click on one of those sample, and once you can run it after a while, or initially it initiated the run from there. So once you save it, you can run it, and once you run it, we can now begin to test what we have in terms of the content against relevant information we have. Now, this is sample one of that we can search to test. So when I click on, it's still loading. Now you can see here, okay, it's now right here. I can just say search. Now to test my search engine, to be sure that my content is working and is properly indexed, you can see it can run all those index for me and ensure that my index is properly filled up in terms of scoring it. You can see for here, this is the blog I imported from a blog container, a blog account, storage account. Is showing me some of the picture I have, and it's scoring it in terms of the picture confidence, and it's scored by number, and you can also score the search index, the search information from the indexing. Now that the model help you to identify each of the content and score it. Now for this particular one, I'm going to go back to the indexer, and I want to run it to be able to what? To get this content and ensure that I can have it on a very, very user-friendly environment for people to be able to search. I'm going to bring a sample now, and we're going to test that sample. How do I do that? I can create an app, app, and that app, I'll create it, and that app can easily be used to what? To run the index. So let's look at the real estate index that was indexed. Let's create an app from it, and from that app we can now run a search, a normal search. You know, we know that in terms of content, most people are used to a very, very friendly environment when it comes to search. So Microsoft has an ability where you can create your demo app. You can actually create it on your website and allow users or your corporate people to be able to search those content. Now I'm going to create one for this real estate sample. Now when I create demo app, what it does for me is to map all my index file and create a platform, an interface that I can easily use as an HTML file that can be sent to my user to use to search. Now let's look at this particular one. Now you can see there's a layout already. By default, Microsoft have created that for your web interface. It shows the thumbnail. Now what is a thumbnail? Thumbnail is like the image that you want it to describe. So you scroll down. One thing about the cognitive search, it already map all your information in terms of relevant content, and you can see a thumbnail. I want each of this content, when it comes to the real estate, to show the picture of that particular real estate information and where we have it. Then I can also identify the title. You can say I want it to describe it. Description can be in Germany, can be in French, it can be in any of these other language, depending on where you are targeting. So let's just look at one of them. Let's look at description. Then under description, description here. Now, what title do we want to have it? Is it on the bat, on the bed, or anyone? Let's just put the bat. Then I create a demo. Now I can download it and it comes in as an HTML file. I launch it. Once I launch it, then it gives you an interface. Now this interface can be modified by your developer to make it more user friendly and more finer than what we have here. So now I put the asterisk by default, then it can search through my search and show me relevant real estate information that I've got for my content. Now I can display this anywhere for anybody to buy and to use it. Now, having all this, the next step for us is how do we bring it into visual? Deji, please. I've got to a point here now that I have done bring my content, crack those content, and I've also exposed this content in terms of bringing it on a web interface. What do I do to bring this particular content into relevance and into information, getting insight from that? Deji.
Cool. This is amazing. Seeing cognitive search, converting your content into a nice search engine. Now, anybody, anywhere can interact with this content easily, user-friendly. But as they interact with this content, that is where I am coming from. As anybody interact with this content, I am interested in what are they doing and how often did they Let's go back to the Azure, Seyi.
Okay.
Now, from that place, we build this cognitive search and we deploy this. If you scroll down, okay, go to the name of the guy, that's the demo search 2022. So, are you there?
Okay.
Now,
Yeah,
by
there.
the side, scroll down, you will get to the no, not that side, the smaller pane. Now, you will see the monitoring sector. Good.
Okay.
Now, under the monitoring, no, that's not monitoring.
It's
Monitoring,
money.
yes.
Yeah.
Now, under monitoring, we have alerts. You want to monitor the metrics, you want to monitor the log. Well, let's work on the diagnostic setting first. Click on the diagnostic setting. On the diagnostic setting, this is where you tell Azure to keep every log, every activity that happened in a storage account so that Power BI can feed on that and pull up nice reports. Now click on Add Diagnostic Setting. Cool. When you click, it will now ask you what exactly do you want to capture. I want to capture that friendly. Select all logs, select all metrics. Now let us go to the this other side. Let's select archive to storage account. Let's archive everything into a storage account. It will now ask you the account that was created. It will request that you select the account and you save your work. So Seyi has done this in search. What's the name of that account? The storage account. I'm trying to see search
Demo story
storage.
2020.
Okay, search demo storage 2022. Cool.
Yeah.
Now all you need to do is to save. Now, once you've done this, I now move on to my screen. I would like to share my screen now. I know Rev can help out. Let me see. Okay. Confirm you can see my screen, please.
Yes, I can see your screen and I'm adding it now.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Okay, now let me switch. anybody anywhere in the world. And once you open up that HTML search, this will interface the database the company has provided. For example, can you help me look for all flats in the data? Let me just look for flats. There are two flats there. This is a block of flats. This another one. Okay. There is anything like that. Cool. I think this is making sense. I have three apartments, wonderful, beautiful apartment. Apartment with water fountain. Let's see if I can get any. Wow. With water fountain, I can see 1 to 7. This is cool. Now, as I'm doing this search, I'm interested. Who is doing this search? What are they looking for? And more and so on and so forth. So at those points, I will come up to my Power BI. Let me go back to my Power BI service. So you can log into Power BI service with your Power BI account. And if you don't have one with your corporate email, you can have your free account.
I think there's a technical problem.
Dashboard. Okay. So,
We can't share. We can't see your screen, Deji.
oh,
We can see the screen, but you're on another tab.
okay. So let me see. Let me stop sharing and
Yeah,
try
can you share
sharing
it again?
again. Let me try this. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can see it now.
Power,
Yes, perfect.
Power BI apps, right?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Cool. Now let's go. So let me take this again. Now, back on my Power BI service, if you have a Power BI service account, this is how your service account looks like. You can browse through and see all what you have there. But the area of interest is to create an application that will interface the activity log that has been stored in cognitive search and let me have a deep insight into what is going on there. And to do this is just to click on apps. When I click on apps, then I will say, look, get for me get apps. When I click on get apps, these are lists of different apps, but what I need, I may not stress myself. I can just come to search. We've been using this search a lot. Thank God for search. I'm looking for cognitive Azure. As I'm typing, this should help me. In fact, look at what I'm looking for. Azure Cognitive Search. So let me click on it. Now, once I click on that button, the next thing is to help me pull up the content without stress. So from here, it will give me background, some information about the cognitive search. I can just say get it now. If I don't want to follow this route, I can do that from get data. You go to service. From the service, you type Azure Cognitive Search or service, and this brings you back to this point. So please get it now. Let me click on that. Get me the app. Come on. Great. Now, I have the app up and running. Good. At this point, because I already have the app, it's telling me, do I want to update that app, or I want to update only workspace contents without updating the app, or I want to start the app afresh. Let me just update the one I have there already. I will click on insert. So within few seconds, you will get the app up and running, installing an app, and that is the Azure Cognitive Search application. And once you finish, good, thank you, go to the app. Let's see what you have. Anytime you have your Cognitive Search app running on Power BI, please note any information you see on the dashboard is the sample data content. So this, that you have it on the screen, is a sample data content telling me the total search for today is 362, and the total search so far is 694, and what are they looking for, and so on and so forth. All other detail under indexing, under operation, under service metrics. So we have all these details there. But I need to connect this to my own storage account. How will I do this? You will see connect to your data. Just hit that button, connect to your data. It will now ask you, what is the storage account? This is the same storage account she sent to me just now. Let me confirm. Let me just copy it again. Copy this storage account and dump it here. Good. Okay. So I click on next. So I did not even adjust the 30 days, but that means it should do within the last 30 days. I can always reduce it. It depends on how often I check my dashboard. So it's telling me parameter required. Oh, I hope. Oh, there's a space there. Take out this space. And the number of days, 30 days is cool. And move on. Next. So I don't think you will need any. Oh, great. At this point, he has seen the service account and he has seen the domain that the account is running on. So the question now is this: what type of authentication mode are we using? Anonymous, key, or OAuth 2? I'm going with the key, and the key has equally been sent to me earlier. Let me just grab that key, okay, and dump it here. Cool. So go right into the account, and within few seconds, the whole content here will reveal the true picture of the activity happening at the back. So let's just wait. Okay, no, not 362. Oh, it's still loading. Come on. Great. Now it's telling me that so far today, we have nice search today. Remember, I just searched for apartment, I searched for some things. Now, anything that happened today, I can see what was searched for. And apart from that, we had within the last 30 days, 86 search. And look at all what people are looking for on my data set. Oh, now, the next question is this: if this is what they are looking for, is there anything they are looking for that I don't have? For example, look at zero resource search queries. Somebody is looking for a raffia roof, somebody is looking for a home with a spa, somebody is looking for a home with underground, and so on and so forth. So I can see areas, interests, people interest. Wow. So I can walk around this. I can even see the search per index over the time. I can see the document return over the time. I can see the search over the time. I can go into the indexing to reveal other detail. I can go into the operation to see what exactly are they passing in, look at the detailed query that was passed in, and also I can see the service metrics. Without a single line of code, I have a better insight into what my customer, what my staff actually doing on my search engine. So I would like to stop here to attend to question. Is there any question for us?
Yeah, the time Thanks for that.
We don't have any questions as such.
Okay.
But we did have a few people joining in, and they've said hello, good morning, and some people joining in from Nigeria. So yeah, we unfortunately don't have any questions
Cool.
as such.
Okay, so Seyi, over to you. Thank you, Rav.
The question I will want us to look at is trying to look at use cases that we can use that. Now, scenarios, because one thing about solution, especially this high level Azure cognitive search solution, where can we use the data? So what area? I've outlined some, but I want you just to speak about it, the scenarios that we can use this search engine and how we can now use the insight to better any business, whether it's a small scale business or an enterprise business.
Okay, great. Number one, like what you listed here, I can see online retail e-commerce. Let's take a small business. I have a cake business where I bake and I sell cake, and I love people placing order. I can come up with a small database, put it on the cognitive search, share with my customers anything they want, let them type it there. It brings that type of bread or the type of cake for them to see. And when they do search, maybe they're always looking for maybe cake with blackberry, with this, anything they like. As they put it there and it's not part of what I have, that's an insight for me that whoa, this lot of people are looking for things like this. Then I can walk around it and retain my audience, have my brand loyalty, and so many other things around that. It can be used in different spectrum, different areas of life. Regardless the type of business you are doing, search is key. It helps your customer to reach what they want easily, faster, without stress. So, and I can see user generate content. Of course, we have a lot of content that is being generated. Content are so huge today. Then you need running through millions of content online. It's crazy. But you might need a tool that can help you get to where you are going to easily. And leveraging on this is a perfect solution to solve our problem. And also, definitely, any form of business application, like you demonstrated earlier, it can even absorb your SQL Server database, not only documents. It can absorb your SharePoint libraries and lists. And also, people can place a wonderful search on those things and come up with wonderful results. So this
Yeah.
is cool.
Yeah, so generally, the whole sequence here, and that what we're saying now is that Azure Cognitive Search is a tool, a solution that you can use to better balance your people experience, better give your people a perceptive to what your content is, to what your business is, and you can make them to have access to relevant content at any given time. And for business, especially as you have talked about this content, different scenario, these are simple places we can use Azure Search instead of relying on our enterprise big search engine that we have out there. We can create our own enterprise, even as a small business, and we can use it to attract customer and to better have a better relationship with our customers. I think that is all from us. If there's any question, we are still here for some few minutes. You can just type in your question and we'll be here to answer it. Just use the comment button to type your question, if there's any there. If not, we hand over to Rag.
There's no questions in the chat.
Okay.
Okay, we've got one question now. It says, what is the maintenance of a system like this in a company? I've put that on the screen.
Okay. So, what is the maintenance of a system like this in a company? Now, in an organization, you already have your database, or you have huge scanned documents or PDF documents. All what you need is to have your Azure account and create this on Azure. And as long as your Azure account is up and active, this will always help you perform this cognitive search on all your documents or your data sets. And all you need to do is to share that link with people, and they keep performing their search. They can get to reach anything they want to reach within your blog or your data set without stress. So just maintain your Azure account. And if you are interested in seeing what they are seeing, is there anything they are looking for that we cannot provide in our content, then you can connect this to Power BI. All you need is to have your Power BI account on Office 365. And once you have this, so that is all. So maintain your Office account and your Azure account, then you have your search engine running now and forever. Seyi, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, to add to that is to say that because we are living in a digital era, and we know that Azure has come to stay in terms of its scalability and its gigantic nature in providing services that is within that we cannot provide as individual establishment. So once we have the Azure account and we have it feature out to Power BI, the only thing we need to do is to look at our content vis-a-vis the storage we need. And that is the only way we need to be very, very careful. We must be careful to know how our content increase, the size of those content. And once you have all those checked, then that is fine for unstructured content. But for structured content, we already have all those information from an SQL server or any database you use. You just plug it into your Azure Search, and by default, that search will be cracking those content and be featuring it out in your browser as a search content information relevant to the user's request.
So Upton, I think we've been able to answer the question.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Liam says thank you. That was a great session.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you very much to you both for taking the time out to speak on Global Azure Days. And we really hope to see you again soon in the reactors.
We are always ready if you call on us.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. And thank you, everybody, for joining in. And we hope to see you in our next session. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.